Shalom, friends, and welcome back to this week's installation of a Bisseleh Torah. Yitro is the name of this week's parasha, and it begins with these words, Vayishma Yitro. In Yitro, Jethro in English, heard. And the question asked by our sages is, why was it that Yitro heard? Why him? Why not everyone else? Why specifically he? Was he so conditioned to have been on the same wavelength that he would have heard the word of God, that he would have noticed the children of Israel having escaped from Egypt, that he would have heard about the waters of the Yam Suf parting before Bnei Israel? Why was it that Jethro heard? And it's further compounded by later on in the book of Psalms, David wrote, Shamu ha'amim yagazun, and the people of the world heard and were terrified. So the sages conjoined those two segments, and they said the world did hear. Everybody heard what was happening with Egypt and the freedom and the redemption of the Jewish people from slavery. Everyone heard. But they were terrified by what they heard, and they didn't want to come close to it. They didn't want to come proximate to it. But Jethro, on the other hand, he hears, he listens, and he gravitates physically as well as spiritually towards the center of the universe where God is found and the Jewish people are located. One of my teachers in London made this phrase famous. The reason why most people do not go to synagogue is because they're afraid that it actually might work. What if God actually puts God's hands on you when you're praying? How will your life be significantly different? Will you lose control of yourself, control of the passage of your life? And so people, fearful, he said, of that occurring, refrain from getting too close to the core of what is most central to our very fabric of being. In the Yerushalmi, the Jerusalem Talmud, one of the rabbis in Berachot makes the comment, never in my life have I actually had Kavannah. What a profound thought and what a profound revelation for a rabbi to make a statement that they never had true, real concentration and flawless intention, Kavannah, when they were connecting with, not in their life, when they were connecting with God. And it is difficult because there are so many distractions in our life, things that take us away from what our true center of being really is. And so we're told in this week's Parsha again, Vayishma Yitro. He was attentive. Yitro listened. He wanted to be close and wanted to understand the meaning of his life, the meaning of all existence. And he listened. And he heard what he was seeking. Perhaps this is a challenge that goes out to us all, that if we're attentive and we really want to hear with great Kavannah, the words that are being spoken to us even at this very moment, the words that continue to filter through the universe directly into your heart and soul, you can open up and hear them, but you have to want to and not be afraid. As opposed to the nations in that psalm quote, the nations didn't want to hear. They were frightened. They trembled, and they moved in the opposite direction. Are you fearful or fearless? Full of Kavannah or afraid of Kavannah? Shabbat Shalom.